Guide to Warehouse Operations Software with my guest today, Daniel Abram. He is Senior Director of Advanced Software with Savoie North America. Hello, Daniel.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being with me. Let's start out with some alphabet soup. Define the key differences between WES, Warehouse Execution System, WMS, Warehouse Management System, WCS, Warehouse Control System.
Okay. And the way I like to explain this, especially for individuals that are new to this industry and navigating all of the signs, is honestly the WES does all of your order fulfillment, does all of your inventory fulfillment, your execution to your equipment, but will only remain within the four walls of your building. Unlike a WMS that has to worry about inventory, movement of orders across an entire network, across multiple distribution centers. So that way, if you have a distribution center in California, but also in Philadelphia, having to move that inventory, a WES will never move into that realm, but will almost do everything else, including the execution of your equipment, the ability to have your visibility of your inventory, your container movement, and your order fulfillment, the ability to request replenishment if you do not have that inventory within the building, and essentially your real-time operations and orchestration within that building that helps your operations fulfill the orders that are needed. So very brief, but that's the way that I like to define what the difference is between a WMS and a WES.
And the WCS is more like the equipment control, right?
So the WCS is more of a traditional term that for the longest time really just had to do with interfacing with the actual equipment. So think about the communication of a sorter. A container is scanned on a given reader point, and it essentially asks the question, where do I go? Who am I? That's traditionally what a WCS did. It would provide the response back so that that container knows which divert to go into, which location within an automated storage and retrieval system to go into. And for the longest time, really the equipment drove that software. And it was more of it wasn't so much execution, but it was more of a delegation from the WMS on what work to provide through simple missions. Now the WES comes in and the execution is orchestrated with the proper timing to fulfill your orders at the right time, as well as doing the WCS layer. Now, what's unique about a WES is oftentimes, depending on your vendor for software, the WES might already encompass the functionality of a WCS. Where other vendors, they will keep those two things decoupled, depending on how they've built up their platform and how they've built up their interaction with equipment.
Okay, so let's talk WES here for a moment. What are the top features that operations teams look for in adopting a WES for a fulfillment center?
Yeah, that's a great question. So traditionally, going back to the model that used to exist for the last 20, 25 years, you have a WMS and a WCS. The WMS is taking all of your orders that are coming into your system, whether it's omni-channel, it's coming from your direct-to-consumer, retail fulfillment, outlet, whatever it might be, and it's simply pushing that into the WCS. It's pushing all that work in, it's pushing inventory in, and now the WCS has no choice but to try to do that work as best as it can. Where does WES come in? And to answer your question, the WES now has the intricate level of feedback from the equipment. How saturated am I in these given areas? So rather than, hey, the WMS is pushing over the wall and now you have to figure things out, the WES now has the capability of pooling work and executing based on your saturated areas. So one of our implementations recently, we look at what orders are most important and we score them by their importance, their complexity, and how long they'll take to complete. And based on that score, that's a rank of what orders are the most important. So now we look at that top order. Where does it need to go to get fulfilled? This part of the building. Is that part of the building already overly saturated? It is. Okay, I'm going to put him to the side and allow the next highest priority order. I'm going to analyze him and see, where does he need to go? Well, he actually needs to go to building part B. And right now, that's not a high traffic area. I can go ahead and release that work. That's just one of the enhancements or optimizations that a WES has the capability of doing, because now it's pooling the work as opposed to being pushed.
It sounds like relative to the other two types of systems, it's kind of the new kid on the block, right? It's come along.
It is. It's
More
a new hot
recently.
term. It's a new hot
But
term.
how has it evolved over that time from the moment it was introduced to where it is today? Are there new features and new bells and whistles to it that were not there at the beginning?
So transparently, I know what I know from the WES that we've worked on. I'm not a market analysis expert, but I know from our team that we have tons of individuals from different spots. Where I can see that it has evolved from where it used to be is initially a lot of companies had an existing WCS platform. They heard of this new WES that I think was coined, I think by Redworks initially, years ago, 15 years ago. And everybody wanted to jump on the wagon. And so a lot of companies simply took their WCS and rebranded it and said, now it's our WES.
Yeah, right.
They put a new name to it.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I initially saw, both within this industry and then as well as within the companies that I've been around, but as well as the competition. But I think as it's evolved, a lot of integrators have realized we need to actually build from the ground up properly, because the architectures that are necessary, the patterns and the software design patterns that are necessary, you can't just rebrand an existing WCS. This really is something new. So I've seen that the evolution has gone from using legacy systems, legacy proven tools like Oracle, J2EE, Java, some of the technology that have been used in a WCS, and we've moved away to new design patterns, microservices, horizontal scaling, things that enable us to really pivot and do something new in the WES.
You haven't mentioned, I'm sure, as a feature now, though, is AI and machine learning. That is now an integral part of a WES, is it not?
That is a great transition. Yeah. So machine learning, AI, wow, big things. What I have noticed as well, I'm not a market expert in this, but as far as the companies I've been involved in, a lot of integrators, a lot of WES providers will claim that they're using some sort of AI or machine learning. I'm convinced that there's a little bit of an exaggeration. What I have seen as far as being able to apply machine learning or AI or data analytics, I kind of clump those together, is finding patterns that will better enable you to run a system effectively. So what I mean by that is using graph data science and graph databases, finding things like community detection or similarities between orders so that you can slot more appropriately by using data analytics across your system. That's more data analytics. Now let's talk about machine learning and AI. One of the things that we have the capability of doing, and I don't know if anyone does it well yet, is suggestive preventative maintenance. So watching as your equipment is being used or utilized, identifying anomalies in your equipment like faults, let's say shuttle faults, lift faults, robotic faults, and identifying as that pattern becomes more prevalent so that you can provide that input and suggestion to your maintenance and operations teams to repair something that is less of a cost to repair now before it becomes a more expensive cost, right? So doing preventative maintenance on a lift, a lot cheaper than having to replace an entire lift.
Well, it sounds like really that in the future that'll be a big part of the systems. But thank you so much, Daniel, for helping us to understand the difference between all this slew of systems that are necessary to warehouse operation today. May I take a moment, though, to ask you to just very briefly tell me about Savoie North America. Who are you folks and what do you do in this respect?
Absolutely. So Savoie North America, we are an OEM. We produce our own equipment. We are a shuttle provider, lift provider, goods to person provider. We have conveyor as well. But we also make sure that we partner with our customers. So that way we're not biased just to our equipment. We make fantastic equipment. But at the end of the day, our solutions engineers understand that it might not always make sense that your entire solution is an expensive shuttle system. And maybe we apply something that is not as high of a cost, but based on your throughput. So although we are an OEM, we are also an integrator. And that's where we come in with the software. We have the capabilities with our software to be agnostic to the equipment. We've built up our WES in a way where it's not just necessary to run with our shuttle system, but we've integrated with companies that oftentimes can even be our competitors, but we've embraced that partnership because we enjoy having to integrate into different flavors of shuttle systems, automated storage and retrieval systems, as well as pallet SRMs, the vast majority of different equipment. So Savoie North America, we've been in business since 2018. We've been building up our WES since about 2019, and yeah, we're excited to be a part of this industry and watch it evolve.
Daniel, thank you once again so much for helping us understand all these systems that go into a modern-day warehouse, as well as telling us something about Savoie North America. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Bob.
I am speaking with Daniel Abram of Savoie North America. Thank you very much for watching.